So if what you work on is more important than how you work on it, what are the rules that you use to choose what to work on?
Yeah, broadly speaking, I've thought about this a lot, and both looking in the rearview mirror, but even at the time, say, if you look at my transition, it wasn't really a transition, there were parallel tracks, but incorporating angel investing around 2008, for instance, after the success or the initial success of the first book, looking at, say, the podcast in 2014, any of these various decisions, there are a few common threads. The primary one is asking the question, and I'm not the first person to do this, but how can I succeed even if I fail? Or can I succeed even if I fail? What I mean by that is, if I'm looking at 5 possible projects or experiments, I tend to view them as experiments. So let's just say I'm looking at 6 possible projects / experiments that I could pursue in the next 3 to 6 months. Let's say 3 months. I really tend to focus in the short term, and it'll be clear why that works in the long term in a second. If I ask myself, which of these will help me to develop or deepen skills, develop or deepen relationships the most, even if they fail by external metrics, I bias towards choosing that project. And then even if it fails initially by whatever external metric you might have or perception of the public, as long as those skills and relationships transfer, they persist after that project, those will accumulate over time. And so far, my experience has been they lead to better success. I mean, if you look at, say, Jodorowsky's Dune, which failed, you have Geiger and all these incredible people involved, and then they split off and created these masterworks. And you see many examples like this. So I don't view the failure of any given project as a failure as long as there are things developed that can transfer forward into other things. So that's how I tend to choose my projects. It really does accumulate over time. So as long as you're looking at evaluating your, let's just say, accomplishment over a longer period of time, 3 years, 5 years, and you're viewing things as experiments as opposed to like closed loop success or failure, binary outcomes, then it's all feedback.
Talk to me about this relationship between 3 months and 5 years.
My experience for most folks, myself included, is that if you were to ask me 5 years ago, could you have predicted everything that would have happened in the last 5 years? Of course not. And my own experience has been that if I put my all into shorter term projects, let's just say 3 months, within that I have 2 to 4 week experiments that I'm running of various types. Number one, that's kind of semantic insurance against psychological distress from quote unquote failure.
Binary.
Just framing it differently, using different language to train your thoughts to sort of react differently. And furthermore, I would say that as you run these experiments, let's just say it's 3 months, if you were to try to set in stone some type of 3-year plan, you're probably going to be creating blindness for yourself where you don't see very attractive doors that open that you had not predicted.
Can you give me an example?
Sure.